Hello, Marcus. Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Alina. Good to see you. How are you doing?
I am good. I am connecting today from Romania, so no red couch in the back. And of
Okay,
course,
I
we
was missing it already.
and then I'm very happy to welcome you in our third conversation today. We are continuing. I think it's a beautiful exploration throughout the year and seasons. And today we are together to explore the season of autumn, yeah, the current season that we have. And I had to say that I'm really looking forward to hear the insights that you're going to bring tonight. For the people that they haven't watched us up to now, we have started this exploration some time ago. I think in May, if I remember correctly, this journey, and we started with the spring, moved to summer, and now we're in autumn. And of course, there's going to be a fourth episode of this series, into which we see how we can take the wisdom of the nature and bring it into the coaching practice. How are you today,
Wonderful.
Marcus?
Wonderful. Thank you, Alina. Yeah. Shall I start?
Yes, how are you today, maybe?
I'm fine. So it's the first working day in Germany because yesterday there was a bank holiday. So we have a short week only. Um, but I'm really happy because over the weekend it was raining. But anyhow, we have been in the forest. We have been enjoying the autumn, and today it's getting sunny again. So it's a good situation, and I'm looking forward to talk a little bit um, our, about the autumn.
Yes, and before we start, maybe it is good to say to anyone who is watching us live today that they can bring their questions or their comments, whether they are watching us through LinkedIn or Facebook, by just writing it in the comment space where they're watching us live.
Mm.
And we are able to see it here in StreamYard. And of course, we will address it in due time. And for anyone who is watching this registration a little bit later, they can always leave thoughts or questions, and they will get back to us, and we'll do our best to follow up on them. So, Marcus, without any further introduction, let's just, flow into the topic of today. Where would you like to start?
Yeah, with the second page, so it's just to give the team and who is listening here to give them a short overview. So what we have been doing over the first two sessions really is was to look in the spring and summertime in two out of five of the elements, or at least three of the five elements. It was the wood element, the fire element, and the earth element. And these elements has been really something to do with high energy because, and we talked about that one, really where you have the birth, where something is really starting. So the spring, we called it unstoppable, and the summer period to be unique. So really to show who you are and to go outside and also to transform all of your ideas you had at the beginning of the year, which you were communicating outside, and all the ideas you wanted to have. So really to get into the transformation and to make something nice out of that one. And today we are in the autumn. So we are starting really when we are looking outside. The trees are losing the leaves, and it's a time which normally is used where we are getting a little bit more backwards into the inner of ourselves. So the message for today's session is more or less, okay, what is the autumn? For what does it stand? And yeah, really to get a little bit more insight and what it means to reflect and to deepening the experiences we have made over the first months of the year. Yeah, and from a Chinese perspective, really, this autumn period is called metal. So it's that we are looking into the metal and why it is called metal. Yeah, and for everyone who is joining today, we have a good message. We do not stop today, but I think in January we have the last session out of the 5 where we are talking about the winter and how everything is integrated, because normally that's the time when already the seeds are planted for the next phase. So it's really a natural rhythm which we have been also taking into account here for our season or for our 4 sessions.
Indeed. So we're going to end the cycle, right, with the winter, and of course, our journey might continue. But it's the beauty of every cycle is that it can bring different topics of exploration, and of course, I'm curious after we integrate in the winter what the spring will bring, right?
Yeah.
But for today, it is about deepening, I see, and about reflection and well, maybe preparation to use the abundance that we have of colors, of the earth, of fruits and vegetables, and how do we, prepare the best to go and hibernate in the winter.
Yeah. And what you are saying is very, very important, because really that we need to take the power and that we need to be grateful, because what typically it's happening, at least in my coaching practice, and I don't know whether it's the same in your area or in some of the people who are joining today, sometimes my clients are continued to transform, and they are stuck a little bit in their habits, yeah, and and their day-to-day work. So sometimes they really have no time to reflect a little bit, to say what they are doing the whole day, because they are stuck in so many activities from a business perspective, family perspective. Maybe they have children, and they are stuck in the routine. So, and this is really where they are doing a lot of things. Um, they are really powerful. But now we are getting really into the time when we are looking into the metal, where we are saying, okay, we need to take a step back and we need to see, okay, what we have achieved. And you put it very nicely, Alina, that we really need to be sometimes also grateful then when something has been achieved, yeah, that we look at to that one, what we have done, how it was been developing, what we have been getting out of our work, and also to praise it. Yeah, and that's sometimes what we are not doing. So we are not seeing really, or a lot of my clients do not see that. And sometimes it's really also difficult to get them into a kind of a contract to work with me, because as long as everything is working, say they want to change something, but they're continuing until maybe something ugly is happening in a company. A company is there's a divestiture, or they are losing their job, or whatever, then immediately they are getting stopped, and then they need to rethink. So what I think it's really important here, when we are talking about the metal element and deepening, is sometimes to take the time to reflect what we have achieved. And that's a nice period, because end of summer, end of the earth period, um, we have been out and we get a lot of fruits, as you have said. Yeah, we are getting in all the things. We need to conserve it for the more or less introspective period, yeah, where we get more insight, where we need to see, okay, how we can take all these fruits and what we have been achieving in order to get over the winter period into the next season, or into the next year. Yeah, so that's important. And what I'm sometimes calling it to my patients is that, or clients, that operational hectic does not dispel mental wind stillness. So it really means that, okay, sometimes breathe, take a rest. And when we are looking into the metal is really also, from a Chinese perspective, linked to the lungs. Yeah, so it also has to do something with breathing. Yeah,
Yes.
because if you're running like a 100-meter sprinter, yeah, you're getting out of breath, So it's time to take the rest, and to breathe and to get back to your power, and then you can start again for sure. Yeah. So
So the breeding starts in the autumn, and I think it continues over the winter. So then you can regenerate, and in symbolically in the spring, you can run with it actually.
Yeah, so I think we should breathe every time, to be
Yes.
really honest. Yeah, but I think because of the high power, because we are always under fire, so we have the fire period with the summer. So we are saying that's a period people are under fire. They are talking very fast. Yeah, a good person is talking very very fast without breathing anyhow, so that you're not getting really listening to what he's saying. So
Hmm.
sometimes we need to say to that person, calm down, take a breath, because otherwise I'm also not able to follow you what you are saying, what we are doing. So I think that's very very important. So, and what we are seeing here on that picture is really just a different picture on how the Wu Xing, the generating sequence, is taken into account. So when we are looking into the Chinese philosophy, we are talking about 5 elements: the wood, fire element, and earth, which are more the young elements. The earth is the transformation, and metal and winter, which is more residing also when we are looking into the universal principles or rhythms, more to the yin part. So you can also imagine that wood and fire is more related to the day, and metal and water more to the night, and or to the evening and the morning, night times. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So
So,
so that's a basic principle, and what we are seeing really from that universal process is that this one is nourishing the other one. So anyhow, today we are in the metal, and yeah, what what is a metal person when we are, or what I might need to add here, is what the Chinese people has been doing is when we are looking into the nature, into the seasons, into the energies which are related to each of the seasons. Yeah, we also can get a lot of information about analogies or metaphors back into what maybe a person who is more facing metal pieces or metal elements in their personal type. Yeah, what they are feeling, what the emotions are, how that person is behaving. So where I want to start is really to say that a metal person is not perfect. A metal person is hyper perfect.
it's how I understand. So
You
it's
know,
not. It,
so maybe they have heard about the Pareto principle, where we can achieve 80% with 20% of the time, but they are doing always 200%. And that's also something when we are looking into that one, because we are looking from an energy perspective into that one, we could say, okay, if we have sometimes less of something, or if we have too much of something, is not good. So in order to be balanced, maybe the Pareto principle is quite good. But at least doing 150%, you're not stopping your work. You're not getting into the next phase, what we have said before, into the water phase. But that's something what we cover next week or next year. Yeah.
mhm.
But that's really something what a metal type is really, where you can see it. Yeah. And it's a person who is very, um, yeah, taking very elegant, is looking that everything is working fine. So I took here a little bit of a brain. It's like a Swiss clock. Where
So
everything is.
it's a mental type, I would say, somebody who is very strongly cognitively using the power of rationale, thinking, argumenting, maybe quite good argumentation, right? So if you have a conversation, there will be a lot of words being used, concepts, smart, somebody who reads a lot. Am
Yeah,
I?
it's more someone even who is building some kind of systems. You need to imagine that within the when you get all the fruits back, you need to see, okay, what are you doing with them? You need to put them into a shelf in order to make sure that they are surviving the winter period. Yeah, so normally these people are someone who, well, organize everything very well, who are thinking ahead. They are always on time. No, that's not right. They are not on time. They are at least 30 minutes before appointment, and I had a client a couple of weeks, or a client, a coach a couple of weeks ago, and I was jumping into our clinic half an hour before the appointment, and she was already moving along with her bike and looking there where it was the first appointment, in the clinic. So she was really looking after that one, So, and I was asking, are you my client? And I got already, to be really honest, I got already a kind of an indication that this maybe is a metal person, because she was on time. Yeah, she was making sure that she's coming best prepared. And but she was dressed red. So there was a combination of fire and metal. Yeah. Maybe we can talk a little bit later about the combination or what this is doing, but at least you're getting sometimes out of these kind of behaviors already which kind of person it is, and some indications at least. Yeah.
And what would be the color? Because you mentioned red as being the color for the fire, and I think we touched on fire during the summer period, right?
Yeah.
What is the color for the metal?
Yeah, the color of the metal normally is white or gray. Yeah, so when you're looking into Chinese people, and if they are getting gray hairs, that's an elder person, and they are honoring these kind of persons. So it's really when you're getting also from your life perspective, getting older, but on the other hand, it's also, how do you call it, a little bit metallic, which is blinking, Yeah,
Yes,
so
like silver, you mean? Yes.
because these people, they're elegant. I said this already, but they are also sharing the gift of beauty. So they are normally dressed very nicely, Everything is fitting, everything is color in color. They are prepared, and they make sure that nothing is missed, when they are going somewhere. So they are planning really ahead. So normally you find project managers with that persons. And on the other hand, they want to be a little bit, as I've said, okay, they are getting out the beauty, they are a little bit shiny. So sometimes maybe these people are having not only one ring, but maybe two rings or a collier or something, which is a little bit blinky. So you can see that, yeah. So that's the reason why I also have chosen here the silver color a little bit, yeah.
And I saw a comment from Monica Porch, who is with us today, and
Oh,
she
good.
was mentioning in your example that the red that the person was wearing was most likely balancing the metal, right? So it was
I
balancing.
think I think we have an expert here.
Yes.
Yeah, that's totally right. Yeah. I will come back to that one later, because it was interesting to see, and maybe it's helpful here for the community. I think we have most of the mentoring and coaching maybe colleagues here, yeah. That what this combination is also looking, and how maybe this kind of combination, it's not supporting each other, but when you're in the coaching process, you maybe see why something is not working, and how these both elements maybe inhibit each other, so that you have even a blockage. So, but let us go a little bit more into the element. Yeah.
Right. Was this
Uh,
my trigger that I should change the slide, right? To bring more images that describe the metal type, so to
yeah,
speak.
but I really wanted to say, because I had the hat here, so on the other side, but I can take it here. So that's a person which has a very good memory, a very good mind. So that person can remember a lot of things. Yeah, getting into the emotion. So as I've said, okay, also from a Chinese perspective, we can link it to emotions, yeah, and what's happening normally. So a couple of years ago, we had an au pair, and that au pair was coming from USA. So we really started to implement a new ritual. And the ritual is also, which is linked to the metal, because metal is also somehow rhythm, you can remember the watch or the clock, where everything is getting into each other, otherwise it's not working. So metal is also related to rituals. And so when she started with us, it's a couple of years ago, 7 or 8 years, Now we are really having a Thanksgiving festival, where we are thankful for everything which has been produced, where we are getting the sun, where everything was growing, so that we really can have a big party, yeah? Get the family together. And this is really a kind of a ritual. So even if that person or that au pair is not any longer with us, we are still celebrating Thanksgiving. Yeah, with a huge turkey and inviting the friends and getting everybody together. Yeah.
Right. And next to this, I can think of other rituals around the world that are celebrating the harvest. I think because whether you have the harvest of the wine, and then you have all sorts of events around that, you also have maybe to celebrate fruits and vegetables. I can think of apples, and I
Mhm.
can think also Oktoberfest. I think it comes with the beer, and it can be about alcohol, but actually it can be a bit of a ritual, also a break, also a connection coming
Mhm.
together, and when we come together, we also celebrate what do we have so far, celebrate relationships as well, and a moment of stop, right, of pause, because you can't, in order to celebrate, you need to pause and breathe with both your lungs, right?
Uh, exactly. Yeah. And yeah. And so we have the picture here with the Indian summer, the leaves are falling from the tree. So metal is also related what you're saying, okay, that you need to get rid of the fruit. At some point in time they need to be ready. And the tree needs to say, okay, now you can fall down. Now you are done. Now you are, yeah, now you are in your best condition. So that's from a natural perspective. Yeah, from the natural rhythms, we see that they can decide that at one point in time, it's the right moment to let things go. Sometimes it's not easy, because if you let go something, yeah, you're getting into sadness, So if you're losing a friend, if you're getting out of school, if you're our eldest son is now moving or had today the first day at university, so school time really is, yeah, done. And over the last 2 3 months, he was a little bit sad. So he was something in between, He was get rid of school, which he didn't like so much, but he was not able really to be happy about what is starting. So, but this morning he was really glad to start with the university. Yeah, and what's happening in that time, So it's something where you're saying, okay, that was good. That was a good experience. Yeah, I learned a lot out of that one. I have grown up to a specific item. Yeah, but then you need to let go. And what's happening, which is very natural also, is to say goodbye to something, goodbye to the season. But and that is for sure also related to the emotion of sadness or grief. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, the summer period is over. No more swimming in here in Berlin, for example, in the Wannsee or in the lake. You need to get dressed up because it's getting colder outside. You need to conserve your energy. Yeah, so it's really moving from the young, from being outside into getting more a little bit more introverted or inside, and that is related to the sadness, And now Monique, I can't see whether Monique is writing anything, but that's very helpful, We the experience who
Yes.
have been with us. Fire is related to the joy, And then someone is really sad, For sure you take time but on the other hand, what is really helpful, which is balancing it's a joy. So if you just look into the perspective of the emotions, yeah, joy and sadness are somehow balancing each other, yeah. And there needs to come the time again when you're a little bit more happy,
Right. And I don't think, I mean, they exist only in the presence of the other, right? Because I can only say I'm happy when I've known periods of unhappiness, or I'm joyful if I know I've been sadness. If
Mm.
there's only one emotion, then there is no continue, then there is no duality, right? And we know that the yin and yang that bring this beautiful concept of duality, of a continue, something that mathematics explains with plus infinite, minus infinite. So it is actually the two ends of a continuum and
Mm,
everything that happens in between. And when you said about goodbyes, actually I was thinking that we have this ritual with the family that when we leave from a place, like we usually go in the summer in the mountains, but we've been also to Alsace. We have this habit when we drive away to say bye bye mountains, thank you so much for your beauty, and sharing
mhm,
thank you the hotel, this was a nice apartment. So I think I started maybe this ritual because I was a person that I had a difficulty in letting go, in stopping, that joyful moment, was dreading this moment. So I kind of
mm,
created this ritual to help us ease out and say maybe we see each other, in a couple of months, so it is for now, it is goodbye, and we say thank you. Also, cultivating gratitude with children can be a wonderful challenge and opportunity. So we've created this ritual to kind of also delimit this
mm,
space that it's closing. We're closing one phase and we're preparing mentally that we are, navigating into another. And I
mm.
think with autumn it's exactly the same. We've closed the summer and we're entering in the autumn and we're preparing for the cycle and knowing that after the winter, spring is coming, right?
Yes, yeah, and I wanted to add a little bit to what you have just said, Alina. So you said, okay, you're grateful for the time you had, in terms of the vacation period, maybe, or when you have to leave a specific location which you have been tied to. So what I'm telling my coaches a lot of times, now that is also a very good time, to think about, okay, for whom you are grateful. And so we do not have the 31st of December, Sylvester, and where you have a party and the year's closing, but really maybe taking now also the time to say, okay, what has been good, for which you are thankful, in terms of colleagues, yeah, family members who has been helping you a lot, maybe really noting 3, 4, 5 people, and maybe making a kind of a party or a festival out of that one, like the Thanksgiving festival, and sending them a letter or sending them something to say thank you, because they have been an important part to get the results where you are at that moment in time.
Yes, they
So,
contributed to the journey of the year, of personal journey. They brought something to your life,
mm,
and it is about acknowledgement.
uh,
And
exactly.
I see that in the corner, of course, vulnerability you mentioned there. And I guess whether it is this honesty or emotional expression towards ourselves or with others, yes, I think it is needed vulnerability to allow ourselves to express what we feel.
Yeah. So exactly. So I would like to take a step back, when we are looking about into metal. This is something hard. You can think about like an axe, yeah,
A bit
or a
more
sword, where
strict.
you're cutting something. So when you're looking
Yes.
into the medieval
Yeah.
times, you had a kind of, oh, I miss the English word. So a kind of something which is protecting you, from getting hurt. You know.
Yes.
So this metal aspect, yeah, and you can also from a Chinese perspective, you say, okay, this is belonging to the skin, because this is where you need to set boundaries to the outside
Mm.
versus to keep something inside. And metal persons sometimes could be someone, if they are too strong in terms of boundary setting and saying no, and being too rigid sometimes, that they really have a kind of, yeah, um, yeah, protection around them. Their feelings are not getting in,
Like
but
a
also
shield, you mean? A
a
sort
shield.
of
Thank you.
shield,
Yeah,
like a
it's a
shield.
shield. Thank you. So I was looking for the right word. Thank you for that one.
Yes.
So on the one hand, maybe if it's too close, emotions are not getting in and
Mhm.
emotions are not getting out. So maybe you have a partner or someone has a partner, where you're feeling, okay, he's not talking about his feelings. Yeah, it could be an indication for someone who is more a metal person because he's keeping his emotions a little bit to himself. So there could be two options, as you said. Okay, it's because he has or the person has been vulnerable or is anxious to be vulnerable. So that doesn't mean that he's not a lovely person, or that this is a lovely person or a loving person, which is very important, but that this person is maybe a little bit more introverted, and keeping the feelings for himself. You may get from that metal person a little diamond, as a kind of an indication, but maybe you find it somewhere and maybe without a lot of words, but you are maybe getting a nice present, but don't expect too many words from that person. So then you may have a metal person in front of you.
That makes me think of the five languages of love. And clearly, this is not going to be words of affirmation. It's going to be more like services and gifts, most likely. So
Yeah.
it's something that it is more subtle, more indirect. And yes. Oh, and I see a comment here from Monica again. And she's saying, I am very metal and I know that I'm afraid of being vulnerable. Therefore, I'm reaching towards the outside. Thank you,
Yeah.
Monica, for this example of vulnerability. Thank you for sharing that with us.
And at the in the end of the day, if you know that there's some item and where you can look into, then okay, where your development step is, to be really honest, because that's maybe stopping you from getting to a next level. Yeah. So I think if you are facing too much or too less of something, in the fire, maybe if someone is too open, telling everything about all emotions, people are getting, yeah, stressed because they are telling too much. But on the other hand, that's something about you need to be a little bit flexible, a little bit of movement, also in terms of emotions.
Right. So, is there anything else that you think it's important to know, and why? How is how is helping in the coaching practice to identify whether a person it is a metal person? What brings to mind to you as a coach?
Thousands of things. So it was good. If I'm coming back to my coaching example, that I open the elevator and say hello, and I am also 10 minutes early and letting the person in because they hate it to be not on time, that they are not having their appointment on time, So you need to make really sure that you are not getting too late because then that person is already a little bit, hmm, yeah.
Not open anymore. I think you're starting on the
Exactly.
wrong, wrong foot.
Maybe that person is not coming back, because you do not have a structured approach. I don't know where the people are have learned a little bit about a coaching or mentoring practice, but sometimes we are also when we are in a coaching discussion, yeah, we are also saying, okay, there's a diamond or there are two diamonds because the first diamond is really when you're opening the discussion, yeah, that you're exploring, okay, what the person is bringing, and then you need to bring it back to the point in the middle of the discussion in order to make a clear decision. Okay, what is the topic you want to discuss today in our session? Yeah, so
Mhm.
it needs to have a clear structure. You need to look on the time more or less, yeah. And then you're starting the diamond again because you're saying, okay, now that we have been agreeing on that kind of topic, you're opening it, and then you're going back. So it has a form of a diamond, yeah, in your coaching practice itself. So yeah, which can be used.
Especially with the metal type of coachee or clients. And I see that you mentioned diamond, but I see a different perspective from the diamond metaphor showing on the screen. And can you tell us a little bit more about what is the connection or the story here?
Yeah, definitely. So if you're looking into the metal. getting into from what is happening in the earth. The earth is getting more thick, and then you're getting out of that one, um, how do you call it, the ores. It's getting pressed under pressure. Something very good is developing. So that's the reason why I have chosen here really the diamond. Because only under pressure something nice or something excellent is
Being developed or revealed or shaped up, right?
exactly shaped out. And you need another diamond, in order to get the diamond into that nice of form. So when we are referring that to the coaching mentoring practice, everyone needs a coach or a mentor, because that mentor can can ask you that questions which you might need, in order to get really to a wonderful piece. Yeah. Um, and that is, I think, what is happening in the autumn period, because the trees are losing the leaflets, and what is happening, you immediately start to see the structure of the tree, because you haven't seen it, because there were leaflets, there were apples, fruits, whatever, it was green. Yeah. And now you're getting to the skeleton, and because they need to think, okay, what has been good, what they want to conserve. It's also the older a vine grape is getting, the
Yes.
um, the the better the wine should be after 50, 60, 70 years. So it's similar, I think, to our life, and that's, I think, the most important message here, that the period of getting inside to think, okay, who you are, who you want to be, yeah, what have you learned, is getting really a very, very important step here. Yeah, as part of the middle steps, that you're saying, okay, who am I and who do I really want to be? Yeah. And the older
Mhm.
you are getting, the more experience you are making, you say, okay, well, thank you for that kind of experience, but I don't need to make that experience again. So you are careful not to do that. But maybe you're saying, okay, I want to do that, and I want to change a little bit, because in the next period, in the next cycle, you want to make new experiences, and you want to be, yeah, even more valuable. So.
I was thinking that with the when you said that, I was thinking that it can be the autumn of your life, right? So if you are thinking that the cycle, a life cycle, right, it's something
Yeah,
about 70, 80 years.
yeah.
When you get to from a certain stage on, maybe in your 50s or something, you can say you're in the autumn of your um, life cycle. And then it's exactly what you're mentioning. So you can autumn, it can be symbolically, when you think of cycles as a stage. Also, it can be a project that you have in the business, and then the autumn of the project, it is pretty much towards the end, when you see that deliverables are coming, and you're kind of having the space to celebrate the abundance of the deliverables and a little bit of the success. But you also take time to celebrate, but also think of the learning that you got.
Mm.
So I guess the invitation here, or the way you can use it otherwise, also in coaching, whether you coach teams or you also work with people that are employees in organization, to understand that autumn and metal you associate, with that stage where after a lot of doing, you kind of slow down and you indeed reflect about the successes and the learning, not the failures, but the learning that happened.
Mm. Mm. Um, Young part is the high performance culture, the doing piece, yeah, as we have mentioned. And now we're getting into the yin, what you're saying, into the learning piece. Wonderful. So I can't add anything more.
No, but I think I see that you have here two other images that you have associated with change, and of course we mentioned that it is transformation, and we see a concept that is kind of we see a lot of articles at the moment, whether it's leadership or HR, is this quiet quitting, and I'm curious, how are you connecting autumn, the metal element, with these two aspects?
Um, yeah, it's again, I think that I have a lot of coaches or people, where I'm wondering sometimes, okay, why they are doing the same job every year, what he don't like or what the person don't like. Yeah, they are not utilizing their talents. They are not utilizing what they really can do, and maybe they have even an uh, someone not nice person as a boss. I wanted to say the word with the A. So it's really that you sometimes need um, to hammer on the brain of that person and say, hey, what is happening with you? What do you want? What is your talent? Where do you want to go? Do you want to find your inner diamond? And what is your purpose? So I think it's really the time where we are saying, okay, find your purpose, find your inner diamond, find your how do you call it? Um, what you really are born for. Then you don't need the quiet quitting. You don't need to be in the company or whatever you're doing. It's wasted time. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I hear
I
what
knew
you're
it.
saying. Yeah,
I
it's find
knew
your
it.
voice and your path, and yeah,
Genau.
yeah.
Yeah. Find your voice, find your element, find what you want to do in your life. And we are talking about fear. Yeah, with related to the water element in January. But and if the people who are listening today are really taking the time for the next 2 or 3 months to see, okay, what's inside, what want to be developed. I call it also what you want to ignite. So then we can have a very good discussion. Okay, what is stopping you really? Yeah, in order to get to the next step. Yes, there will be fear that's related to the water period. You're not sure what's happening. But if we are stuck in the process between earth or metal and the next cycle, and there's no one who wants to stop us from getting to the next level. That's the reason why the people are coming to us, because they are feeling, there's a blockage somewhere in the process. We need to help them to remove the blockages and to get to the next step. So
There can be a blockage, there can be also confusion, or also sometimes there can be too many options, and it's like you just don't know exactly which where to go.
we had
And
the confusion with the wood. You are the expert. Yeah, in the wood period you have too many ideas. Yeah,
yes.
so that's where you are missing clarity. About what route to go, maybe, but because you have too many ideas and you need to cut them down and you need the metal a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and this
uh,
is how they come together, this the elements. And
exactly.
well, now I think it's good to bring it together, out of this. I see that we are the 3 quarters into our journey, 45 minutes. I'm going to
Can you go back
just
anyhow one page? I just want to say one thing to the change process here, because I think it's important. That was coming to my mind.
I'm just trying to turn on the light because it's very dark here. Just 1 second.
It's getting winter.
Yes, indeed. So, well, apparently there's no light, so that's fantastic. Um, I'm back here. Yes, it is indeed winter, and yes, my uncle just brought me a nice glass of abundance here, to
Okay.
celebrate exactly to celebrate the wonderful grapes we have in the garden.
Yeah,
Um,
wonderful. If you go
yes,
back one page, please. I just wanted
yes.
to give the team an idea about change, what's happening in a change
Hmm.
process. So basically, I had a client, and then by accident, I got to that kind of picture with him, because he was really a person, high performance, 120 full speed all the time. And then he was getting to a situation where he needed to make an amendment. And then we were talking here, what's happening, yeah, when you need to get to a different route. So just to take that picture, it's already telling you that you need to be cautious, that you need to think about, okay, which kind of at the conjunction, what kind of direction do you want to take, and you need to slow down. because you're not able to go with full speed, yeah, and to change it, So I think metal, it's giving you a structure, it's giving you an order, it's giving you a basic way moving forward, Yeah, but if you have to change it, it's yeah, but it also allows you, yeah, definitely, to go fast, But if you have to change the tracks, slow down, be careful, think where you want to go. So thank you for going back to that page.
Of course. So that's also autumn in a cycle, right? That you need to take up like a little bit and explore the area, or if you reach an intersection, it's going to also be something like that, because you can't go, or you can go through an intersection and then come back later and say, hey.
Oh, okay.
I had my
What
I
happened?
had my son, in the summer.
I
It's
let
like,
this
oh,
word
I
to slide.
I was so in a hurry, I didn't see that board that said that I needed to go left. Yes,
Yeah,
the beauty
exactly.
of learning. Okay, well, we bring it all together, and I love these photos because they are visual, and I think they're helping us to kind of see maybe how a metal person might come across.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe you have someone really in mind where you say, okay, that is a very typical one. It's normally a person which is very tall, slim. Yeah, it's a little bit aristocratic. It's behaving, yeah, moving slowly. Yeah, um, it's nicely dressed up normally. Yeah, because I said in the beginning, it's a person who is really looking after the beautiness in life. So they are there will be natural.
Impression counts, right? So it is also aesthetics are important, so it's not only what it is under, but aesthetics are important, first impression are important.
Yeah, yeah. It's a first impression also a little bit, yeah, to make a good impression, yeah. Exactly. So what the persons also have, they are best prepared if you're giving them some homework. They are doing it immediately after your session, and they are sending you in all the questions which you are asking them next to the next session. They are coming prepared. They have everything printed out. It's all nicely ordered, and they have their very nice pencil, maybe from Mont Blanc or something else. They have a very expensive watch. So there are some kind of things where you can maybe see that this could be a metal person. So there are indications, yeah, and we know that we all have all of the five elements in us. Maybe also sometimes we are behaving a little bit more like that type or less, but basically you're getting really a good impression what is the main element and how to work with that person. So if you know that you should be on time with that one, yeah, if you are not on time, yeah, they regard it as being not respectful with their time, yeah, and this is not good for your interpersonal relationships. So knowing, yeah, the five elements or the five faces with the five types which are behind, and knowing what kind of person you are, it helps you to improve your interpersonal relationships and to get better business results, better negotiation results, living a more peaceful life with the people around you, because you have the ability maybe to read that person much better than and then yeah, to balance it,
And if we are thinking of the concept of giving and receiving, it is about what maybe giving a better idea what to give in order to ensure the relationship, but also what you can expect from them. So you can count on them to be prepared. You can count on them to be on time. You can count on them to to show up, I think, and also to give an opinion. You can also count on the fact that it is might be more difficult to express emotions, but they will always tell their opinions, right? So you can count on their mental input, and I think these are also, they can be talents many times. So and strengths in this, and then how do you to put the light and on their strengths so they can see that as a strength. Of course, like any good thing in life, it's too much of a good thing can become um, a vulnerability, so to speak. Let's not say a bad thing.
Yeah, they
Yes.
don't like if you are getting into their boundaries, you know. The fire person is coming, giving you 20 kisses and hugs, you know, and that person is a little bit more on the distance, you know. So 1 meter, just to be observing, you know, what's happening. And you need to have your charm, you know, your esprit, and your eyes, yeah, your shen in your eyes, just to get that person a little bit more flexible, you know. So it
Yes.
takes a little bit of time, yeah, to win the heart of that person, maybe,
And to build the trust, maybe.
and to build the
So,
trust. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Would you
But
like
I think
me
that
to?
just to finish it up, it's really the person who is doing a lot of ordering. You know, if you're thinking about a company, if you're thinking about a big family as we are, you know, with 5 children, you need to have rituals in place. You need to structure the day. We even have a plan for the breakfast, so we know exactly, okay, what we are doing for breakfast in the morning, because if we are not doing that, you know, we are missing it. You know, if we need 20 eggs for 8 people, yeah, someone else who is on his own or only for 2 persons, they need to plan ahead or so. But the bigger you are getting with something, yeah, the more you have to manage, like a company, the more you need to build a kind of a structure so that people are knowing what is helpful and how to move forward. Exactly.
So after we traveled a little bit and explored the metal
I have one more
personality,
point. One more point. I wanted to take a different picture, but I was not sure whether I can take
and
it
you want to
because of.
present it here, or should I take you to
No,
the
I
next
haven't
place?
presented it here because I just want to tell it. So
Mhm.
there's, if you're thinking about Mary Poppins, I don't know. Do you know Mary Poppins?
I know Mary Poppins, of course. Yes, we watched it with the
So
kids.
you
Yes.
normally have two metal persons, you know. You have Mr. Banks as a bank director and a very strong person with the children. And you have Mary Poppins, who is also strong and have a clear view on how things should work, but she is doing it with a lot of fire. So coming back to Monique, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Mary Poppins is a person who is trying to structure everything, but doing it with a lot of flexibility, with nice words, with emotions, and
Playfulness.
that one gratefulness. So I think that's maybe this picture is a little bit resonating, you know. So and to get that things together. Yeah.
Yes, playfulness, metal. There can be also a way. So bringing it all together after this journey. So how can indeed these five elements help in mentoring and coaching, and how is metal in particular?
Okay, I think we started it a little bit. So it really to say, okay, a metal person giving the structure and how a session is set up. You know, maybe you need to explain a metal person before. Okay, what is exactly working, so they are not a little bit flexible. Like with another person, you may can talk back and forth, but that person really needs to have a structure. Yeah, you now need to know exactly how this is working. Also, maybe if you have more sessions, what is happening in the sessions from a process perspective. They need to have maybe a contract in place. So sometimes you have a person when you say, okay, come on, we are doing it and I'm paying you. With that person, you need to have it printed and everything very nicely prepared. Otherwise, he's feeling uncomfortable, you know. So knowing that, you can help to build a good, trustful relationship, you know, with that person. Yeah. And as said in the coaching session, it's the same, you know. I think that person maybe also wants to have more clarity on what you were doing exactly. So they may need to have a little bit more of explanations.
Mm.
Yeah.
About the next step and what they can expect, and a little bit more insight into what's coming, or also a little bit maybe of control in the sense of, or an awareness of choice,
Uh,
at least, that yeah, they like that, uh, to
and with
have the
other
power to
yeah.
choose.
And with other persons, really, you may have the feeling that you are getting faster to emotions, you know. that person is not showing you the emotions, but it could happen that if you find the right point, that you need to have a lot of handkerchiefs available, under your desk, maybe thousands, because if you're really in a position to open or to get the nut opened, then something can really happening, and we see that a lot of times in the clinic. So I'm we are talking about traditional Chinese medicine. So if you have the right point, you really can immediately release the tears, and then something is opening. So the water is coming into flow, and then you can, they are able to get rid of the tears what they have been hiding under their protective shield. So if you are getting with a metal person to that point, I think you are very successful, because you're really getting that person getting rid of some bad experiences of emotions, and helping that person to grow.
Yeah, so they get unstuck. It sounds like they open a door that it's locked for some times, and that makes space for something else. And Vlad was saying very nicely that vulnerability is an opportunity to learn and grow. And it's also a space to accept the lack of perfection, right? So, and make peace with what didn't go as expected, or forgive yourself. I think forgiveness is probably very important, especially towards us.
I totally agree, and I think this is the biggest challenge we as a coach may have with that kind of person. Um, and if you're thinking about, I don't know, on which levels the higher you're getting normally in a management in a company, and to the management level, C level or whatever, the more difficult it's really to get to the real point.
Yes, and the connection, right, with themselves, not necessarily with the outside world, but with themselves.
They need to be, they need to be open, to be vulnerable, and yeah, and to have the trust in the mentoring or in the coaching process and the other person, that this is not taken somewhere else. So confidentiality is an important aspect as well.
I'm curious. I know we're coming almost to the end, and I am curious if Monica or Arnita or anyone watching us would have a question to address. For us, they can do it now. They can also do it later. As I mentioned, I do want to take this opportunity to thank everybody who was along the way with us and provided us with their inputs. And well, Marcus, if we are to leave people with, I don't know, maybe three aspects about this element, um, what would be those three things to say?
I have only one important message, maybe.
Okay.
So the more the person is acknowledging his power, to give every event in your life, whether it's a good one or a bad one, a positive, constructive, motivating, loving meaning, um, the more these people are gaining control over their life, which really means trust yourself, be authentic, and be powerful or strong enough to show your vulnerability.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, with that, for me, it resonated with the question: what is this action or event that is happening to my life here to teach me? Right, so it is, rather than why me, it is what is this bringing to me, this question. I think because we are in coaching, and we know
Mm.
asking is, well, the most powerful tool that a coach has. So let's leave everyone with this question. um, Marcus, it has been a pleasure. I'm leaving with a lot of insights. I think my husband might be a metal type, and I have accompanied you in my mind, thinking of all the positives and also all of the moments where there was a challenge between maybe a wood fire personality and the metal personality in the house, the beauty and the challenge. Thank you very much again for an insightful
You're welcome.
conversation. And I think we here it is, we leave an invitation to everybody to join us in January when we're coming back
Exactly.
to reflect on the winter.
Yeah, so everybody is bringing his diamond.
Exactly,
Who
exactly.
someone is, what do you want to achieve? And what is the purpose of your life,
Right.
As
So
you said,
then,
the older we are getting, the more we are getting to the question, what is our purpose really? Why are we here on the world? Whether you are reading Strelecki or whatever, it's they're all asking similar questions, But I think this is really um, the key here. And what we are doing in the winter months or in January then is really to say, okay, what can we take? Yeah, with what we have been exploring, what we have been finding out, how we can take that together with what we want to be, and to move forward. Yeah, what we would like to bring out and how.
right. And if I am to think, what, listening to you, a book came to mind that might be a good companion for the autumn.
Okay.
And the book name is called The Courage to Be Disliked. I don't know the names of the authors, but it's written by some Japanese, and in the style of a conversation between a mentor and a mentee, actually a student. The Courage to Be Disliked, which is a journey of a student into breaking this perfectionist and being good enough, I think. And
Hmm.
it might be a good companion for the autumn period of the year. And with that, thank you, Anita. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Vlad, for being here. Thank you for contributing with your questions and your comments. Thank you, Marcus. And
You're welcome.
enjoy the abundance of the autumn, and let's see each other again in the winter.
Next year. It's a long
uh,
time.
Next year, but it depends. It's not the next Chinese year, right?
It's not the next Chinese year, though. We have been careful really to put it before the new year from the Chinese perspective. So exactly.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
So have a lovely evening and a
You too.
wonderful autumn, and see each other in winter.
It was a pleasure being with you here. Thank you.
Likewise. Bye.
Oh.